Hey folks, and welcome to They Might Be Homesteading. Today is another Wednesday Slacker Dad crockpot recipe. So today we're going to make a French ratatouille. The great thing about this is basically just a whatever vegetables you have on hand type recipe. They're normally traditionally made with whatever vegetables were in the garden at the end of the year. So for this, it's a two-stage recipe, so there is a little bit of work involved, but it's not too bad. So to start with, we're going to take our veg. We've got 40 grams of eggplant. We have 30 grams of zucchini. We have 30 grams of squash. 45 grams of onions, because we like the onions. 15 grams of mushrooms. 15 grams worth of cabbage, 15 grams of tomatoes, break those up a little bit, and 15 grams of peas to round it out. So the first step of this is really to rehydrate and cook the vegetables. So we're going to cover it with water. We need to have enough water in there that as it heats and rehydrates, it goes into all the vegetables and you don't run out. So you want to check it periodically as it's cooking. And to infuse some flavor into the vegetables, we're going to add two tablespoons of tomato broth. So we go ahead and stir this up, hook it up, power it up, and let it cook on the low setting for a few hours. And basically what it'll do is it'll rehydrate and cook the vegetables and make a nice mix. When we come back, what we're going to do is we're going to drain it off, add the rest of the ingredients, and finish up the cooking. So now we're ready for the second half of the cooking process, which is, number one, to drain off. Oh, this is always tricky. It's easier. We want to drain off the water that we were using to cook and rehydrate the vegetables. And just so that you know, right now is about 2 hours before serving time. So, once we've got the water drained out, what we need to do is add the final ingredients. So we start with 3 tablespoons of olive oil. The recipe itself calls for 2 garlic cloves. We like garlic a lot, so I'm putting in 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. It also calls for dried basil. I am out of that, as well as fresh basil, so I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use some Italian seasoning that's got thyme, rosemary, basil, sage, etc. in it. It will have enough time to cook together and bring out the flavors. And pepper. Pepper is another thing we're big fans of here. I always try to use freshly ground pepper in all the cooking, because once you get used to it, you can really taste the difference between freshly ground and not. And the last couple of bits are tin of sliced black olives, pitted, and tomato paste. Now we actually canned up our own tomato paste, and this is slightly more than one of the little 6-ounce tins, but basically it's just tomato paste. And my wife really likes these funky little jars, so once you've got that in there, give it a good stir up, get the ingredients mixed together, and then what it will do is it will go back into the slow cooker for another hour and a half, 2 hours. And then hopefully the second you start stirring this around, you should be able to immediately smell how awesome this is. You want to make sure it's in your cooker on low. Too hot for my hands. But that's basically all the cooking of this that needs to be done. The next step will be to serve it in roughly 2 hours. Okay, cooking's all done. So what we've done is we made up some quinoa. It's similar to rice. Put underneath it. And then here is our ratatouille. Oh, it smells fantastic. Last step is to, as with all great meals, basically, add cheese. And we're using today an Italian 5-cheese mix. It's totally by accident. This happened to be what was open. So there you go. That is ratatouille. Done in the slow cooker all day with some quinoa on the base. You can use rice, pasta, what have you. Now, the deal with the ratatouille is it still makes a fairly good amount. If you come over here and take a look, it doesn't actually fill the crock pot, but it's a very dense mixture. It will not can, so you have to freeze it. Now, the things you can do with it is you can just freeze it, reheat it, and serve it. You can, if you got to, throw it in the blender, puree it, and it'll add oomph to your spaghetti sauce. You can also spread it like, if you blend it and chop it up a little bit, you can spread it like bruschetta over bread and serve it with a little bit of cheese toasted in the toaster oven. It's a really nice, just kind of very simple dish. It should taste very good. So, see you next week.